The Power Spellbreaker is my go-to power DPS build for warrior in most structured group content. It ends up being a very consistent DPS build that has a super easy to follow rotation, and in this video I'm going to cover the power DPS build for meta compositions in addition to the open world build, which is also super survivable and is all around great for its ability to provide consistent self-stability, boon rip passively, and it has large amounts of CC. The only requirement to run this build is Path of Fire, excluding some relics which you can switch up depending on your need, and there is a weapon variation that has a trade swap, so I'll be covering those alongside the standard build and what I personally recommend. Before we cover these builds though, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, or if you want to support the channel, you can use my referral link in the description below for Guild Wars 2 content, since I am an ArenaNet partner, or you can join as a member with the links in the description as well. But getting started with the power meta DPS version of this build, we are running full Berserker's gear with Scholar Runes and Relic of the Claw as your primary relic, though if you do not have that one available, you can run Fireworks or Thief in the meantime. Your primary weapons are going to be Dagger, Mace, and Hammer with Force and Hydromancy, and then Force and Air Sigils respectively. For traits, you are going to be running Strength 331, Defense 333, and Spellbreaker 133. For utility skills, you will be running To the Limit, Bull's Charge, Signet of Fury, Signet of Might, and Winds of Disenchantment. This is the hammer version of the build and is the one I personally like the best. The rotation feels very fluid, it's easy to follow, and it uses the defense trait line, which gives you a lot of stability from the trait Stalwart Strength, which is your defense Grandmaster trait. It applies stability to yourself and gives you a damage buff whenever you disable a foe, which you will be doing very frequently across both of your weapon sets in this build. Also, you get Adrenal Healing, which gives you passive heals based on your adrenaline level. This, combined with the high amounts of CC that the weapon sets generate, means you will be feeling very tanky. You'll be able to break those CC bars very easily in the open world and keep monsters stunned while you passively regenerate. So even if you're running the full meta DPS version of this build, it works well in the open world. I'll go over that more later. But for these rotations, you have two weapon sets and you have two loops on each weapon set. So you have a Hammer 1 loop and a Hammer 2 loop, and then you have a Dagger Mace 1 loop and a Dagger Mace 2 loop. And this build flows is Dagger Mace 1, Hammer 1, Dagger Mace 2, Hammer 2, and then back to 1, then back to 2. So after the opener, you will find yourself starting in Dagger Mace. So you start on Dagger Mace, you go to Hammer real quick, and then you start the loop in Dagger Mace once again. So to start with the opener, you're on Dagger Mace, you use your heal skill, Winds of Disenchantment, your Dagger Burst F1, then you swap to Hammer, you use Hammer 4, Bull's Charge, Hammer F1, Hammer 3, and then 2, 5, and 2. And just a quick note before we get into Dagger Mace 1 loop, both Hammer and Mace 5 recharge other skills. So both Hammer 5 and Mace 5 recharge other skills. So your Hammer 5 recharges Hammer 2 and your Mace 5 recharges Mace 4. So typically you'll be seeing these loops go from Hammer 2, 5, 2 and then Mace 4, 5, 4. So keep that in mind. But getting into the Dagger Mace 1 loop, which is immediately following your opener. So before we get into Dagger Mace 1, let's just recap. Heal skill, Winds of Disenchantment, Dagger Burst F1, swap to Hammer, Hammer 4, Bull's Charge F1, 3, and then 2, 5, and 2. And then you weapon swap and you're back on Dagger Mace. You start with 4, 5, 4, F1, and then 3, and then you auto attack chain twice, weapon swap to Hammer, and now you're in Hammer loop 1, where you lead with F1, skill 3, skill 2, auto attack chain twice, swap back to Dagger for Dagger Mace loop 2, which is skill 4, F1, and 3, followed by auto attacks until you can swap back to Hammer, where then you do F1, Bull's Charge, Hammer, 3, 2, 5, 2, and weapon swap back to Dagger, where you would repeat loop 1. So then 4, 5, 4, F1, 3 auto attack chains, use skill 3, then auto attack, swap to Hammer, so on, so on, so on. There is a pretty significant amount of auto attacking in this build. Most of it is to fill time between weapon swaps. So try to finish your auto attack chains. So even though I say do an auto attack chain or do 2 chains or whatever, it really means to auto attack until you can weapon swap. Finishing the chains is how you maximize DPS, but really just focus on the cooldown of the next skill. Sometimes this will be a weapon swap cooldown, sometimes it'll be building adrenaline, so that way when you do weapon swap, you can use your F1. Additionally, use use Daggering Blow, which is your hammer 4. Use it off cooldown when you're on your hammer set. So whenever possible before your auto attack chains start, use it, or use it right before you use Bull's Charge. The crowd control on this setup really goes insane. You have hammer 5, hammer 4, hammer F1, dagger 3, and mace 5. They all do really good CC alongside Bull's Charge. So you will be triggering that stalwart strength all the time for the self-stability. Now there is a easier DPS build, and it is pretty easy rotationally as well, though it does lack some of those niceties of the hammer build. This is why I'm not recommending this one, and I'm recommending the hammer one instead. This might be a better starting place if you're new to Spellbreaker, but I think that I should share it since it is comparable. The gear is the same, so full Berserker, Scholar Runes, Relic of the Claw. The weapons are Dagger, Mace, and Axe instead of Hammer, with Force Air and Hydromancy on your Axe. The traits you are running is Arms 133, Strength 331, and Spellbreaker 133, with your utility skills being Heal Signet, Kick, Signet of Might, Signet of Fury, and Signet of Rage. This build is pretty much unga bunga, lots of auto attacking. You use your Mace and Axe skills off cooldown with Kick to trigger the trait Peak Performance. But first off, you start by using all your signets. You use Kick, and then you use F1, and then Mace 454 into Dagger 3. Then you weapon swap and you use Axe 4 and 5, and then you auto attack chain twice for Adrenaline. Use Kick again, use F1 again. Then you weapon swap back to Mace. You auto attack a bunch of times, use Kick, use F1, Signet of Fury, Mace 454, weapon swap, Axe 4 and 5, auto attack F1 and 3, and then back to Mace, where you auto attack a bunch of times again and continue the loop. It is literally, the loop is just set up for Kick, F1, Signet of Fury. That's kind of like your core, and then Mace 454, then Axe 4-5, then F1, and then 3 again, and then back to setup for the Kick, F1, Signet of Fury. It's a really simple rotation, insane amounts of just auto attacking, and that's basically it. Arms does give you some self heals, gives you some faster auto attacks, and frankly, the build does seem really easy. It's almost like a low intensity build. It's a little bit faster than your typical low intensity build, but really you're only managing all of your offhand skills in this build. Now, moving on to the open world version, you might know where I'm going with this recommendation, but if you know anything about relics or the way things work, you'll get the concept of what I'm going to recommend. We are running the hammer version. Big surprise. So you're running full Berserker build with Scholar Runes, Hammer, and Dagger Mace, except you will want Relic of the Pirate Queen, and you will also want golden fried dumplings for food. Relic of the Pirate Queen does require Secrets of the Obscure, so you can run Cavalier if you want. I think that relic is really good in the open world, but this relic gives you quickness when you disable a foe. Relic of the Pirate Queen does, which this build does constantly. Combine this with Jadebot buffs and you're basically fully booned up all the time. You're getting stability and quickness whenever you disable somebody, and it makes you an absolute animal in the open world. It is a great opportunity also to get used to the proper hammer rotation, which in my opinion is way more useful in things like fractals or raids when you're pugging. The high CC, high self stab makes it great for pugging in fractals, pugging in raids, and in meta events, even if you are in the middle of the mix, even convergences, convergenciums. This build is a great all-arounder no matter what you play. So if you watched until the end, I really hope that you try this build out. It's really great. I want to thank you for watching. A big thanks to all of my subscribers, and a special thanks to all my members who support the channel. Again, subscribe if you haven't already, and you can support the channel from the links in the description below. Thanks again, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.